Hi, it's Karen and Bo again, and I'm kind of gonna do a sort of response to myself and also kind of to the responses that I've gotten for my prompt, which was about what do you do post-Grail? Air quotes again. What do you do after you have purchased your Grail doll? And I'm motivated to do this purely from watching, well actually I noticed that when people have done their responses, I always want to write this reply, so I didn't really explain myself that much in my own video. And when I saw Tamika's reply, who I will link you down below and who you should be subscribed to because she's awesome. Hi. When I saw her reply, I really felt like she touched on some interesting points that I hadn't thought of before, and really the most interesting one to me was the idea that there's no necessarily universal definition of the word Grail doll, so that alone can change people's answers to the question what you do after you get your Grail doll. It sort of first depends, what does Grail doll mean to you? And I will be the first person to say that when I use the word Grail doll to refer to Ryan, I definitely am using it in a kind of loose fashion, and I hope you'll bear with me for doing that. My main reason for referring to her as a Grail doll is sort of that if I tried to describe it in a different way, it would just be more difficult. The easiest way to describe how I feel about this sculpt is just to call it a Grail doll and have done with it, but it's actually very different to that. So I'm gonna continue to call her a Grail doll, but I guess it's kind of more of a story and a journey, and it's more of a, maybe a doll that just has a lot of significance to me, and is really, really special and important to me, and in those ways, to me, it encompasses a Grail doll, even though it doesn't encompass certain other elements that I would normally associate with a Grail doll. I do agree with Tamika that for me, a Grail doll normally implies some level of difficult to attain. You know, like you're on the quest for the Holy Grail, you're on the quest to attain this doll because you can't just go out and buy it. And I don't think it necessarily has to be a limited edition doll that's gone out of sale and you now have to try and find it secondhand. I don't think it necessarily has to be a really, really expensive doll that you have to save up for ages for, but there have to be some obstacles to why you can't just go out and buy it. Otherwise, it's not necessarily a Grail doll. Yeah, I think there has to be some difficulty in attaining the doll for you, and that could be for whatever reason, so as long as it's difficult to acquire, then I think it fits the description of Grail. But I'd like to also point out, having said that, that I don't care how you want to use the word Grail doll, so if you want to use it completely differently to that doesn't matter to me, so whatever, each to their own. In terms of Ryan, I guess I could sort of vaguely tell you the story of why I want to sort of call her a Grail doll. Basically, when I was very, very first looking into the hobby, I saw a minifee, so I don't know if that's a clue that this sculpt comes in a minifee, but I saw a minifee version of this doll, and I instantly fell in love with it, and I thought it was amazing, and it had a really, really, really amazing face-up, not a default face-up, and it was just, I thought it was just the pinnacle of all dolls, just like incredible, and I had that kind of newbie, like I want that doll, rather than sort of being bothered to create your own doll vibe. So that was like a really pivotal doll in my sort of first urge to get into the hobby. Like seeing that doll really was like, wow, I need a BJD. And from then, my journey just in deciding what doll to get and what doll was for me took me right away from minifees, because I basically decided, I'm not even sure, but it's so long ago now, it's like over a year ago, but I really decided that minifees just weren't right for me. So even though I loved this sculpt, and I didn't want to do like a hybrid for a first doll, so I just decided that that wasn't ever going to work. And so even though I loved this sculpt, it just sort of went on this shelf. And at first, this minifee was on my list of maybe get this doll. But as I just went into it more, I decided that I really wanted to go with Iplehouse, and then I decided that I wanted just to have all my dolls on a 1/3 scale, and that completely ruled out minifees and yada yada yada. And so I just sort of never thought that that doll would ever work for me. And then it was later that I saw the People 60 version. And when I saw that version, I was like, oh wow, it took me ages to find it. Like, I didn't know it existed for a long time. I don't even know how long it has existed for. I'm completely vacant in that way, sorry. But yeah, when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like incredible. But I still didn't think it would fit. I felt that I had committed to Iplehouse, and not in like a company loyalty way, just in like a sculpt way. I thought that only Iplehouse dolls would look good with other Iplehouse dolls. I know that some people do feel that way. And I guess that also made me sort of think that the minifee wouldn't be right. But the People 60 version is so similar looking to the minifee version, but just more mature, and for that reason I find more realistic. And it doesn't really matter to me that much anymore whether or not Ryan and Bo would look good together, so there's that. But also I do feel that this is a more realistic sculpt. And so when I saw this version, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like the doll that first got me into the hobby, the doll that like so inspired me, that I always wanted, only so much better. And it was very soon after that I decided to buy it for Ryan, and I hadn't thought it would work for Ryan at all. But when I just sort of saw that it would work for Ryan, I was like, oh my gosh. And I mean, I actually learned things about Ryan that I didn't know by looking at other people's versions of this People 60. And when I saw these photographs of other people's People 60s, I was like, oh my gosh, like, so that's something about Ryan that I didn't know. So yeah, it just so spoke to me. And when I first decided to tell you guys that I'd ordered Ryan, that was when I really decided to say, you know what, this doll deserves to be called a Grail doll, because it's just so special to me and so important to me. And I always thought that I would probably never own one, and I just didn't really think it was ever going to work. And yeah, I mean, I do see a difference between a Grail doll and what I'm going to call a goal doll, or what other people might call a wish list doll. After I bought Bo, the next doll that I thought would be my goal was going to be the Iplehouse YID Bianca. I thought she was amazing, I still do, she's really gorgeous, and she became my next goal doll that I wanted to attain. And she didn't become a Grail doll because she was easy to acquire, and I thought I'd get her quite quickly, and I don't know, there was no real reason to attach Grail significance to her. So I called that a goal doll, and if she was my next goal, then she would continue to be a goal doll. But I moved away from wanting Bianca, and then I saw some other Iplehouse dolls that came out that I really liked as well. And they sort of, I thought about them very much. I really thought about the SID Aria on an NYID body. I thought about that very strongly. But I just couldn't come up with a character for her, and I decided after buying Bo, I'm kind of getting off on a tangent, but I just want to finish this thought. After Bo, I decided that I could see a doll first and then create the character, but I didn't want to buy a doll first and then create the character. I wanted to have the character already, and I just couldn't find a character that would work for this Aria sculpt. I tried really hard, and I came up with ideas, vague ideas and names, but just nothing that made me go, oh yeah, I'm gonna love this character and I'm gonna love this doll enough to actually fork out the money and buy her. And it was only after I came up with Ryan's character, so this is kind of where I get back on topic. It was only after I came up with Ryan's character that I really decided, yes, you are actually going to buy a new doll soon. It's going to happen. We're going to buy Ryan. And it was just the stars aligning that this Feeble 60 doll would work for Ryan. I didn't think it would, because I do think of the Feeble 60s as a little bit more cartoonish and anime-ish than the Iplehouse. And to me, Ryan is a very real-world person. Bo has actually kind of evolved into more of an anime-esque character, and I've even considered reshelling her as a Lutz kid Delph. Shh, don't tell her. Shh, it's a secret. I'm probably not going to do that, but it's occurred to me because she has evolved into a slightly anime-ish character, whereas Ryan is a really, really real-world character, so I saw her as maybe being an Iplehouse doll, but none of the Iplehouse dolls fitted. And I think it might have been because they're actually so realistic, that they look so much like real people, that there's not a lot of room for a character representation. They would have had to look exactly the way Ryan would look as a person. Do you know what I'm trying to say there? Like, with people's little selfies that they're contributing, they all look like Ryan because they're so stylized. But because the Iplehouse dolls are so unstylized, especially at the YID size and above, they're so realistic that if they don't look exactly like your character, then it can be really hard. At least it was for me. So yeah, they weren't really working, and then when I saw that this Feeble 60 girl was going to work, it was just like, the stars are aligning, this is so awesome. I can't believe that this really just character that I love and that I really want to write about and just like immerse myself with, and just such an important character to me, is going to work on the doll sculpt that first sort of got me into the hobby, and that, you know, it just always wasn't going to work. And then I saw the Feeble 60 version, it was just amazing, and then to go back to it and realize that it was going to work for Ryan was just so just like awesome. Just, I can't even express how awesome that was. It was just, when I saw that Feeble 60, and I was like, I mean, I honestly said to myself, you know what, let me just see if this Feeble 60 would work on Ryan, because I really don't think it would, but let me just see, because I know if I'm going to buy a doll, I know that I love this doll. And when I saw it, and I just did like a double take, I was honestly so blown away. I was like, oh, what the, like, that's Ryan right there. Not only is this going to work for Ryan, but this is so beyond perfect for Ryan. I just love this for Ryan. This is so much Ryan that, you know, this feature about the doll is gonna now become part of Ryan, and I didn't even know. So it was just blowing away amazing. And long story short, that's all kind of why, to me, that doll just deserves to be called a Grail doll. Sorry, interrupted again, life of a mummy. I'm gonna wrap this up kind of now. But I just wanted to say that I really, really like looking forward to something. So after I knew that I had ordered my sort of ultimate doll, I mean, that's kind of why she gets the Grail set of her, because she really was my ultimate doll at that point. And that's kind of part of it. But yes, I sort of knew that I was never going to buy those Iplehouse dolls that I loved, or at least not in the near future, because I just can't find characters for them. And so I wasn't really looking forward. They weren't even gold dolls for me. They were just like dolls that I like, and I didn't even have a gold doll. So I thought, well, let's look for a new gold doll. I guess that was really my hunt, was for a gold doll. And then I came across a Vault sculpt, and I might as well tell you what it is. It is the Lorina, L-O-R-I-N-A sculpt, which every head that I've seen for sale is like $2,000. And when I saw that sculpt, I was just like, oh my goodness, that is everything that I imagined for Bo. It has this sort of anime-ish style, but it also has kind of a bit of a realism to it, at least I see it that way. It has these beautiful big eyes that Volks are known for, and to me that really just rings true for Bo, like this wide-eyed, innocent girl kind of look, and just this beautiful mouth, and just, oh my gosh, so beautiful. I can totally understand why she's so expensive. But yes, hopefully I have vaguely explained my sort of different use of the word Grail as it relates to Ryan, and sort of why I'm going to use that term, because it's just so much easier for just conveying to everyone how sort of important and meaningful the doll is. That she's not just like another gold doll that I really like, that it's like a really, really special doll. And also how I kind of replaced it instantly with another Grail, just because it's such an amazing doll for Bo, and it's so expensive that it's just, I mean, I don't even know if I'd ever be able to get it, to the point where I might even broaden that up and just say that the graffiti body itself is a Grail, and, you know, any really nice Volks head to go with it, that alone would be so expensive that that could qualify as a Grail. I don't know. That's certainly a goal. But yes, that's about it, and I'm sorry if this video was really choppy because I had a lot of interruptions, but that's the life of a mummy. So that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching and for subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video. So bye for now from Karen and Bo.